library patrons. It's Sarah Ruskey and Emma Ruskey from the Harrison County Library System, and we're back with another easy recipes for real food. And this one's super simple. It doesn't have very many ingredients, and it's based on my love of all things bread. If you recall, a few weeks ago, it was kind of hard sometimes to find bread in the grocery store, and I thought, well, you know, I have more time on my hands these days, and I used to do a fair amount of baking. I've got some flour, so that should be okay, but you may have also noticed that there's no yeast in the stores, so I thought, well, you know, I'll make some tortillas or naan or pita or something like that, but I forgot that those need baking powder, and I didn't have any baking powder, and that was also hard to come by. Got plenty of baking soda though, so I found several recipes for baking soda. And oh, I forgot to mention sourdough as well. Like that, I thought, well, I'll just make a sourdough starter in my house, but that needs a lot of flour to feed it, and I kind of thought that's not a good thing to be wasting flour. So I found some recipes for Irish soda bread, and that's what we're going to do today, and I was super pleased to find out how easy it is. So it's only got a few ingredients, and of course flour is the number one. We like in our house like whole wheat, and you can use whole wheat or you can use a mix of both. It just depends on your personal taste, and it's going to affect the texture somewhat depending on which one you choose. It's got salt and baking soda, and the other great thing was the original recipe calls for buttermilk, and if you don't have buttermilk handy, you can use regular full-fat milk and add a tablespoon of either vinegar, white vinegar, or some lemon juice. And so that's what we did, and it worked great, and we were really pleased. So we're going to start by preheating our oven, and the recipe we happened to find was, I guess, from someone who lives not in the United States, so they had Celsius. So we're supposed to set our oven at 430 degrees Celsius. So, Fahrenheit, which my oven does not actually have that marker, but I'm going to put it somewhere between 25 and 50, and that worked pretty good last time. So if you watched our first one on granola, I'm all about recipes that are pretty forgiving, and the temperature didn't seem to be a big problem, so that's a good thing. So we're going to get started with Emma's going to help me measure my flour here. The other thing you need to do while you're getting ready, because it really doesn't take, the cooking is the longest part of it. It doesn't take very long. So you need a cookie sheet with some parchment paper to line it. So Emma's gonna cut that and give you that. And I'm gonna start measuring the flour. And since I'm using all whole wheat, I'm gonna do 3 3/4 cup of whole wheat. The original recipe called for 2 cups of white flour and 1 3/4 cups of whole wheat, but like I said, sorry, it's kind of noisy. Maybe it's not. Hope it's not as noisy for you. Parchment paper. So we got our. Turn it upside down. Very good. That's good. We got our surface ready for once we get everything mixed together. And when I'm making bread, I like to knead it. It's kind of a fun part of it. A lot of people find that really tedious, but I don't. But this bread, if you do find it tedious, this is a great bread for you because it only requires 8 kneads, and the recipe admonishes you very strongly, do not over knead it. Don't go beyond that. So if that's something you don't enjoy doing, this will not tax you too much. So that's 3 cups. And we need 3/4 cups. While I'm doing this, will you grab the teaspoon? We need a teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon out of the drawer. So it's 1/4, 2, and 3. Okay, so why don't you, we need a 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda and a 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Both are going to go in here. Is that a teaspoon? Yeah, that comes later. So you need the 1/2 teaspoon. You have the 1/2 teaspoon. Okay. And then here's the salt. baking soda's in. Now we're gonna add this side.
Yeah.
Add the salt in, and then we'll stir it up. And if you're doing, like if you're like us and you don't have a buttermilk supply, you do need to do the milk and acid, whatever your acid is, vinegar or lemon juice. You need to do that about 15 minutes before you start your dry mixture. So we did that before we got started. So, ooh, it's okay, don't pump it here. We got a little extra salt, so we're trying not to over salt it and trying not to waste at the same time. Okay, that's good. That's okay.
Okay.
All right, and then give me a little bit more. So I'm stirring up my dry ingredients here.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
Good job.
Well, it's hard. It's not a great pour. I think could you stick it in there? No. Okay. We don't have a great salt dispenser here, so we don't have the old timey one with the girl on it. Well, I guess it does have the girl on it, but it doesn't pour like the other one. All right, a little bit approximate here. Let me dump that in. All right, so getting our salt. We're trying not to waste. Sorry. So we've got our dry ingredients stirred. You don't want to have any clumps of baking soda or salt in the middle of your bread. That's unpleasant if you have experienced that. So, yay, good job. Okay, so we've got our sort of buttermilk, and it gets a little, starts to coagulate a little bit with the acid, and let's get that out of the way. All right, so I'm just going to pour it in there. Ooh, it was a little lumpier this time.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to stir this, and you just kind of stir it until it's stiff, and then it doesn't take too long. You want to stir? Okay, you can stir. Emma's gonna be my helper here and stir, and then once she gets finished, we've got I've just used my well-loved cutting board to do the kneading, and of course we've got washed hands, so we're ready to go. Ready to go on that, and once we need it, we're going to pop it in the oven. So just you need some help, or you got it?
I think I got it.
All right. Yeah, you're getting there. So it gets a little, I'm going to kind of pick this up. I hope it doesn't make you dizzy while I'm moving this around to show you kind of what the dough looks like. Oops, wrong way. Let's see. I'm not sure if that's showing it or not, but
Yeah, I don't know either.
so it's getting there. There's still a little bit of dry stuff in the bottom, and so we're gonna keep. Oops, sorry again for the dizzy. We're back facing you there. So it's getting there. Now I think it's about time to get the hands on here. Yep. All right, let's get all that off the spoon. And great. Okay, so we got a big lump of dough now. Okay, that's good. I'm going to pull it out. Oops. Having a little dough flinging in the kitchen here. Yeah, can you scrape that off? Oops. It's okay. Got it.
Okay.
And I need you to get like a teaspoon, of that flour that's a half, get the bigger one, and I need you to put it on the cutting board.
Okay.
We didn't prep our cutting board, sorry about that. And sprinkle it all around so it doesn't stick. No, sprinkle it good. That's not enough.
Hold on, it's not coming out of the thing.
Okay,
Wait,
I think
you might want to put the...
Rub it around some more. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe
Okay.
we should put the camera so they can
Yeah, we're going to turn the camera in just a sec once we get our board, because I don't want it. This dough is fairly sticky. Feels a little stickier than last time. Not sure if you always get stuff a little different if you're not super precise, and I'm not when I'm cooking. So I'm going to put it on the board and then turn it around. Okay, grab me some more flour, would you?
Yeah. I'll get some using this.
I'm going to try to turn this computer without getting Actually, I'm gonna move the cutting board closer because I think that's less damaging to equipment.
I can't see it though.
I know, we're gonna turn it down. Okay, sprinkle that on there.
Hold
Don't
on.
just dump it.
Okay.
There we go. All right, dump some on this side. We have a kind of sticky dough, so I wanna, there, thank you. Okay, why don't you you turn the camera down so we can see kind of. So it's a little, I will call this kind of, I think of it as shaggy when I'm describing dough. This is a shaggy dough to me. So that was 2. That's 3. 4. See, it's getting a little smoother. Hopefully you can see that. It's looking more like what you think a loaf should look like. Got a lot on my fingers, so I'm going to try to unglue that because you hate to waste all your yummy bread dough. Goodness. Feels sort of like the swamp monster or something. So the better thing for us to have done would have been to put a little bit more flour before we put it on before I scooped it up with my hands. So that was 5, 6, 7, and I'm gonna get a little bit more of this flour over here for 8. Okay, so I'm gonna, like I said, stick a little bit more of those on there. I'm gonna round it off, and I'm gonna plop it over here on our. You can make it a little prettier, but you just don't want to overhandle it. So we're gonna pop that in the oven.
We need to make the cross.
Oh, yes, thank you. So I'm going to wash off my hands. And I'm getting, tell them what we're going to do.
Okay, so we're gonna put a cross in the middle or an X in the middle of the bread to make it have that like loafy look. I guess.
I think it let some of the steam escape.
Oh, well, there's a function to it.
We're not
I
sure.
just thought it looked like,
It
you
does
know,
look
like all the
cool.
bread dough has the X in the middle.
Yeah, so it's better if you have this. We just have a regular knife. It's supposed to be a serrated knife. But anyway, you just cut across. Again,
Oh yeah, that's.
we're all about forgiving recipes that if you're not the best, most precise cook, it's okay. This one we've tested and it works okay, whatever kind of knife you have on there. Well, not a butter knife probably, but this one works well. So, gonna see, oops, there it is. We're gonna pop it in the oven. And it has turned off its preheat cycle. So I'm sorry, I gotta look at my recipe real quick. So we're gonna bake it for 20 minutes at that 430 temperature. And then we are going to bake it another 20 minutes at 350. And I'm not gonna make you wait, but we'll put a picture of it afterwards and with some butter on it because that's the best way to eat it. And after you cook it, like I said, 20 minutes at 430 and then 20 minutes at 350, and then you need to let it cool on a wire rack, like a cookie rack, or for about half an hour before you slice into it. Sometimes it's hard to resist, but it's good to let it cool down a little bit. It's easier to cut and won't crumble as much. And then best enjoyed with some butter. So I hope you will try this and enjoy it. It's really a super easy bread. There are obviously a lot of really good bread recipes out there, but I appreciate this one being a busy person and not being so great about finding all the time. Sorry, not finding all the time to wait on bread to rise for hours or to let it do its thing. This is a great recipe to do quickly in an evening or afternoon when you got about 45 minutes. That's all it takes. And Hope you enjoy it, and we'll put the recipe in the comments, and like I said, a picture of the results. So have a great afternoon. Bye.